Everyone, once again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in this world. My name is Harsh Mehta. I'm the recruiting specialist at Northeastern University for the College of Engineering based in Boston. You're in for a great session. We have Katrine, who is our Seattle-based recruiter, and she is Assistant Director of Global Campus Admissions. One thing I definitely would like to shout out is just like how many of you are joining us super early or super late, Katrine is in a different time zone than what is in Boston. It's 9:04 in Boston. It is 6:04 in Seattle. So we definitely know where you're all coming from and really appreciate you guys joining us today. This session is recorded and it will be shared on our YouTube page. But some housekeeping rules we like to ask you all is please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to access specific questions related to the campus that you have thought of, and hopefully we could have these answered. So we definitely would answer those questions towards the end of our presentation. So these are just our agenda. These are just some of our housekeeping rules. Then we're going to go over just general Northeastern information. And then, of course, what you're joining us today is to know about Seattle campus, what Seattle has to offer you. And then if we just do have some students that are still interested or some have some questions about their application process, that we will discuss as well. And then, of course, how to stay connected with us even outside of this webinar. So this is just our code of conduct. We like this to be a safe space. So please be mindful of the questions you ask. If you are asking about the status of your application, that needs to be directed to our admissions inbox. This is a place to ask questions just about general COE, general Northeastern information, and more importantly, about the Seattle campus. And so without further ado, why Northeastern, right? So Northeastern is a top-ranked R1 research and experiential learning university. We also are ranked #1 in co-op and internships that we will definitely discuss how that applies on all of our global campuses. Outside of that, Northeastern has 10 colleges and schools, and we have over 40,000 students. So although we are a global campus network, we are still one big Northeastern family. We offer degrees all the way from MS to doctorate and even certificates that you could also see later at your time while you're at Northeastern. And of course, multiple scholarships that we offer throughout all of our areas. And so what does that look like to you, right? So just how we've mentioned, although Northeastern original or major campuses in Boston, we are a global university system and we all work together and connect with each other, just how we have it for students as well as us colleagues and faculty also connect. So here we talk about Seattle. And so we see that Seattle is in a different time zone and a different part, but we definitely are excited for you to join us today. But something that we always talk about is that although we may be different campuses, COE's mission is it's an academic institution. Our main product is people, which are you. Our success is based on the quantity and quality of the people we produce. Something our dean strives is good engineer solve problems, great engineer solve important problems, and transformative engineer discover and solve important problems. And that is what Northeastern does regardless of where you are in the world, and also the College of Engineering mission is, right? We produce transformative engineers, students, and faculty with global impact. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it on to Katrine to continue.
Thank you, Harsh, for the lovely introduction. Good morning, everyone. As Harsh said, good morning, good evening from wherever you may be joining us today. It is 6:08 in actually sunny Seattle for once. Spring has come a little bit early for us. The sun is not quite up yet, but we're going to have a really great day today on this beautiful Tuesday. But my name is Katrine Viscay. I'm the Assistant Director for Recruitment and Enrollment. Not joined today, but also part of my extended team here in Seattle is Timothy Greer and Gretchen Hahn. So we have 4 different colleges here in Seattle. So we have our College of Engineering, our Corey College of Computer Science, our College of Professional Studies, and our College of Social Sciences and Humanities. For general Northeastern Seattle questions about all of our programs, feel free. I have my email there on the screen. I think this would be a great opportunity for you guys to take a screenshot of the PowerPoint. But any questions related to, let's say, if you were interested in the Corey College of Computer Science or specific questions for the College of Engineering, you can go ahead and tap into my colleagues, Tim or Gretchen, as well. And you can see the emails there on the screen. So as I said, in Seattle, we've been here for the last 10 years. We're reaching our 11th year this year. And we have 4 colleges with 12 programs and a range of master's to doctoral here in Seattle, as well as 4 student-facing resources. So our Office of Global Services, we have a team here in Seattle that can help answer any international related questions, visa applications, if you're switching from an HB1 to a J1, if you are inquiring about a SEVIS fee, our OGS team in Seattle, super helpful and very nice. We have career development team, so a team of 3 who help our students find co-ops, mock interviews, resume editing, and yeah, they put a lot of really great events like, again, mock interview day, where we bring 40 industry professionals to our campus to help students sort of learn what it's like to be interviewed in a tech-facing, high-speed, innovative interview process. They'll do lunch and learn, so they'll bring industry leaders for our students, etc. They put really great events on. Student affairs, so any questions about on-campus community, student interest groups, finding your health insurance, Husky ID, or just being more integrated into the Northeastern Seattle community, student affairs is your go-to. And then our global learner support team, we have a team here in Seattle. So if you are maybe moving to the United States or Seattle for your very first time and you really want to be more integrated on a more intimate level, if you're trying to work on English language, if you are trying to earn badges on LinkedIn, if you want to take a trip to the University of Washington and check out the cherry blossoms, Office of the Global Learner Support Office, super helpful. But again, this is myself, this is my team. Here are our 4 colleges and our 4 student-facing resources. Harsh, you can go on to the next slide. And so you might be thinking, hey, why should I consider Seattle, Washington for my graduate school education? We're located in the Pacific Northwest. We're the most corner state besides Alaska, which is quite large, but we're right along the coast. We're the first state that starts before Canada, and we're right above Oregon State. And so you might be considering, why Seattle? What does Seattle have to offer to me besides industries, besides grad school? Myself personally, I'm born and bred in Washington. I've been in Washington my whole entire life. I went to the University of Washington, which is a local institution. So I'm here to tell you why consider Seattle for your grad school option. Harsh, next slide, please. And so Seattle truly has a lot to offer. We are really a live, work, play neighborhood. That picture to the left, we have major sports teams in the Seattle area. So if you're into sports, we have Seattle Sounders, which is our football team, Seattle Seahawks, which is our American football team, the Seattle Storm, women's basketball, Seattle Mariners, our Seattle baseball team, and then we have one more sports team. Oh yeah, we have a new sports team that we just sort of signed a contract with about 2 years ago, the Seattle Kraken, which is our newest Seattle hockey team. So if you're really into sports, we have a lot of that here in Seattle. We're really big into concerts. Jimi Hendrix, Macklemore, those 2 artists are originally from Seattle, Washington, so we really love our live music. That picture at the top right is from Capitol Hill Block Party, but we sort of throw in a lot of miniature music festivals like Bumbershoot, Day In, Day Out. This is Capitol Hill Block Party, but we also have Climate Pledge Arena, Showbox Soto, the Crocodile. For example, for our Museum of Pop Culture. We have a Swedish Nordic museum, the Museum of Flight. What else do we have? The Seattle Art Museum as well. Wing Luke, which is an Asian heritage museum. We have a lot of museums just scattered in the Seattle area. Harsh, go ahead to the next slide, please. If you're really big onto hiking, Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens are just a few mountains that are about an hour plus outside of Seattle. But if you're not into the mountains and you're maybe looking for waterfall hikes, we have so many of that too. Lake 22, Lake Chelan, but the really more popular ones are like Rattlesnake Ledge, Denny Falls. This is a picture of Mount Rainier and just a lady just hiking on one of the trails. But we have gorgeous, beautiful green trees that we call the emerald trees. And a lot of people in Washington state just naturally love to be outside, and they love to hike when it's not raining. And that happens to happen about 60% of the year. That top right photo is actually a picture of where our campus is housed. That's in South Lake Union, which is where we are housed. But that's sort of what our tech workers or people in SLU look like. They're really just wearing little puffer jackets, have umbrellas on, jeans, boots, and you even see the Go Banana stand. That's ran by Amazon. So people in SLU get free bananas just for walking around. We have a little banana stand, which we really love in SLU. Free bananas, who doesn't love that? And then bottom right, just last thing about Seattle, we love our coffee. So I did say that it rains about 60% of the year. So we're like, oh, coffee shops that are a lot better than Starbucks in Seattle. But grab a nice drink of coffee or warm tea. And that's what we like to do. Harsh, next slide, please. Okay, so you might be thinking, hey, if I want to move to Seattle and I want to go to school in South Lake Union, what types of neighborhoods do students live? And so, number one, obviously, is South Lake Union. You can sort of see here in this photo, South Lake Union sort of like right in the middle. If you see Lake Union, you'll see South Lake Union right below. And so that really is considered like the commuters neighborhood. Amazon, Meta, Google, Snowflake, Expedia. I'll get more into those industries later, but all of those big tech firms are housed right in SLU. So it's really a great opportunity for students to network. And if they do a lunch and learn, or if they're participating in a small conference like Women in Tech Regatta or Women in Data Science, they can just walk over to any of those big tech companies. It's really just a short walk away. But you can see SLU, you can see the University District in the top right. University District is with the University of Washington. You have Belltown, which is just a little bit south and closer to the Puget Sound. You have Lower Queen Anne, which is closer to Climate Pledge Arena. And then you have Capitol Hill. I live in Capitol Hill. It's about an 18-minute walk to campus, but I love walking, and the walk to campus is quite quiet. But these are, I would say, the top 5 neighborhoods in which students will live. Harsh, next slide, please. So I'm just going to go on a quick overview of 2 of those neighborhoods, and then I'll just show you what pictures of the other 3 neighborhoods look like. So South Lake Union, walkable to campus, home to Amazon and other tech offices. You can sort of see we are it looks a little more like grid blocked, but we are 4 blocks down from the Lake Union. So you can see here on the lake, you have that building on the green lawn. That is the Museum of History and Industry. And that's just a small little public park here in SLU. But you can see like the long roads, boats. There's some nice restaurants located here on the waterfront. But the average rent, and this is actually updated from this last January, on average, you can find a studio for about $19.95. Personally, for me, I like to find rent that is a little more frugal. So I've definitely seen a studio go for just a little bit cheaper, about $1,700. But if you want maybe a 1-bedroom instead, I'd say 1 bedroom starting in SLU are about $1,900 to $2,100 a month. But this is on rent.com. I definitely recommend, if you are interested in looking for more affordable housing options, check out HotPads on the App Store or Zillow. Zillow is actually from Seattle, Washington. So if you're really into data analytics in the future, definitely consider Zillow as a career choice in the future. But this is off rent.com. But Zillow and HotPads definitely recommend for you to check out what types of livable areas are or livable abodes they have in SLU. Okay, Harsh, next slide, please. Perfect. Okay, so this is what SLU will look like when you're not looking at it from that aerial view. You have the waterfront. That middle picture, it looks AI generated, but that was an actual sign that they made and they put in SLU. They changed the art installations every season. So this was the one for winter. The bottom right is the Amazon Spheres. So it's another office for Amazon employees, but inside is a really awesome botanical garden. In the top right, you can kind of see the 4-story building. That's our building, but you can see how approximate we are also to the Space Needle. If you look straight, you'll see the South Lake Union waterfront, and if you look left, you'll see the Space Needle. It sounds like a dream. It really is. I can't believe I work in such a beautiful area. That middle picture is actually our dean, Dave Thurman, walking with a few students, and he has a service dog. He trains service dogs, so you'll see him walking around for the lunch hour with his service dogs. The picture to the left, that's a little streetcar that runs all the way from almost downtown area, so like Pike Place Market, and it brings you all the way to the South Lake Union waterfront. But that orange building is a brick building with a gym, so if you want to look for a gym close to campus, you can go to that one, but I definitely have better recommendations for a better price point once you are a current student, which is great. Okay, Harsh, next slide, please. Okay, this is, I would say, the second most popular neighborhood that students live, and it's because it's connected to the University of Washington. There is just an abundance of student housing. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, can I walk to campus from the University District? I would not recommend it. You'd probably be walking for maybe about 45 minutes to an hour. But if you have your Orca card, which is the transit pass card, it's like $65 a month. You can just take a quick bus ride, which is the 70, and it drops you right in front of SLU. Then you just walk 3 more blocks, or you can take the light rail to campus. You will take the University of Washington stop and then drop in Westlake and then walk 4 blocks from the Westlake station. So again, abundance of student housing because University of Washington is there. International dining, theaters, there's a lot of retail on the Ave, which is like their major one road, and it has a bunch of really great local restaurants, thrift areas. They have a Target, but the restaurants are so good in the U District. So this is on Zumper.com. Average rent in the U District area, this is for a studio, it's about $13.95, but trust me, you can get something for a lot cheaper. I think the cheapest micro studio, and I'm going to call it a micro studio because you won't get a full kitchen, but if you are moving to Seattle on a budget and you want a micro studio, the cheapest I ever saw a micro studio was $865 a month, so not even $1,000 a month. Granted, parking is super tricky to find in the U District, but if you want tips on finding a parking spot or parking garage, and you are admitted to Northeastern Seattle, I can definitely help you out on that in the future. There are a little bit of tips and tricks for finding parking in just like Seattle in general. But if you're either getting a studio with no parking, or maybe you find a nicer studio for a little bit more and it comes with a parking garage. But on average, it's about $13.95. Realistically, it's about like $1,200, maybe $1,100 on average for a studio. And you just pay a couple hundred more, maybe about $1,500 or even $1,300 for a 1-bedroom. Okay, Harsh, next slide. So this is what the U District area looks like. That photo on the very right, that is the Ave. So buses are running through there, cars, local restaurants, retail. It's mostly comprised of really, I want to say like buildings that won't go up more than like 6 or 7 stories. There's a lot of historic buildings that are maybe 4 stories tall. They're trying to build a lot more houses that can accommodate much more high level floors, but you won't see a lot of skyscraper apartments in the U District. It's really like 7 floors or less. So you can sort of see like this is what this new building is looking like, the one in the middle. To the left, that's the University Village. totally love that place. They have great restaurants. They have an Apple store, shopping. You can see H&M and Athleta. They have Levi's, Good People, or For the People. I forget what that brand is called, but a lot of great shopping, a lot of high-end retail shopping as well. And then to the bottom left, that's another picture of the Ave when it is raining, but you can just see sort of students walking around. Okay, go ahead to the next slide, Harsh. Perfect. Okay, so this is a high-level aerial view of the other neighborhoods. And so in the top left photo, that is Capitol Hill. I live in Capitol Hill. I love it. It's sort of like our LGBTQI plus neighborhood. There's a lot of really great restaurants, local shopping markets, nightlife as well. Seattle University is also in Capitol Hill. So it's a lot of young professionals, young college students to maybe people who are about 35 years old living in Capitol Hill. So it's definitely a young person's neighborhood. Okay, to the right, that's an aerial view of Belltown. It is quite large, so you can sort of see smaller historic buildings and large skyscrapers for people who have condos. So depending on your price point, Belltown's another great option for finding housing. Bottom left, that is Green Lake. There's a giant lake. You can kind of see like a foggy landscape. That's Seattle. It looks really far, but it's a 20-minute bus ride. You'll take, I think, the 4. But if you want something a little more peaceful, that lake is 3 miles all the way around. So for people who love to be outdoors, definitely recommend this neighborhood, and finding rent there can be a little bit pricey. I'd say maybe like $1,600 on average for a studio apartment in Green Lake. And then the bottom right corner, that is Queen Anne. We actually split it into 2. You have Lower Queen Anne and you have Upper Queen Anne. This picture is more about like Upper Queen Anne. As you can see, the Space Needle's a bit of a walk away. But Queen Anne, they have no skyscraper condo buildings. It's really just going to be old historic buildings that go maybe maximum 6 or 7 floors, maybe 6 floors or less, which you can kind of see here in the picture. And they did that intentionally. So people who are living in Queen Anne, you will just get a great view of the Seattle Space Needle from any sidewalk that you're at, which we love that for Queen Anne. On average, rent in Queen Anne, I want to say, is about $1,500-$1,600 or so. Belltown's about $1,300 to $1,500 or so, and Capitol Hill is definitely going to be like anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 or so. Okay, next slide, Harsh. Perfect. Okay, so Seattle industry. So this is what makes up the Seattle industries, a majority of them. So aerospace, we have like Boeing. We won't talk about that much about Boeing, but you have manufacturing as well, computer software like Meta. We have Microsoft, not in Seattle, but we have Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, biotech firms. So Fred Hutchinson, Seattle Children's Research Institution, UW has a great health program as well that you can work for. Finance and banking. So we're hoping to get a co-op opportunity with Liberty Mutual. Global health and healthcare, maritime and fishing. So you see on the photos on the left, you have Amazon Spheres. That's the Port of Seattle. We actually have a few faculty members who work for the Port of Seattle, and they teach in our engineering and our project management programs part-time, which is really great because, again, they're bringing that real-world industry experience right into the classroom. And then you can just see a plane of Boeing at the bottom left. Okay, let's go to the next slide, Harsh. Okay, this is Northeastern Seattle by the numbers. So just from Wallet Hub, this year we were voted #2 best city for STEM careers. The US News and World Report last year voted us #1 for co-op and internships, but we've been #1 for co-op and internships for like the last 3 decades. As of 2023, we've had 1,800 plus graduates from Seattle. Currently, we have 1,400 students here on ground on campus. So we are quite a very large campus. #1 best city for high value tech skills from GeekWire in 2023. We actually just read an article, my marketing manager and I, we were voted #2 best city for women in STEM. We were voted #1 for upwards mobility in tech. So by the numbers, Seattle is looking good if you really want to come here and start your graduate career in engineering, computer science, data science, analytics. We have the great companies and the statistics to prove that Seattle really would be a great place to pioneer your skills. Okay, Harsh, next slide, please. Okay, so, and now you're thinking, hey, if I do go to Seattle, in addition to maybe those 6 industries, what other partnerships are available to me here in Seattle? And so that's such a pretty much wide range question because we have a lot in different areas. Philanthropic, so Amazon and Meta are constantly offering co-ops and internships to our students specifically. They're offering opportunities for them to come onto our campus and see what the industry looks like. They let our students follow along software engineers for a couple hours in the day just to see what the workday looks like. For corporate learning, NanoString's super great because their partnership with us, they'll bring some of their industry leaders here and sort of talk about what it's like being in an industry. So might not necessarily be a co-op, but another great opportunity for you to see what it's like working for F5 or NanoString or Novo. Adjunct partnerships. So these are partners that have specifically signed agreements with us, basically being like, hey, we know that you're Northeastern in Seattle. Like if we do offer internships, like we are definitely going to be offering these to your students if they apply and they are competitive enough. But Redfin, Airbnb, Microsoft, Costco, the city of Seattle, AT&T, Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, Lyft, Shopify, Providence, like a lot of really great employees just in our adjunct partnerships. Last weekend, we actually had a hackathon for our master's students, and it was put on by the city of Seattle, which was really great. So students spent 24 hours on a Saturday up to the next day on Sunday by hacking a project that the city of Seattle prepared for our students. Community partnerships. So these are just community partnerships that will invite students for maybe professional development in terms of like conferences, in terms of lunch and learns. Again, might not necessarily lead to a co-op in the future, but networking is so important in the tech industry that we definitely recommend our students go out in the world and see what it's like to be part of different types of organizations, because the more that you are out there in real world, the more you're going to finite your list of things you actually want to do after you graduate. You might have an idea of what you want to do when you graduate, but that answer might change once you go and meet all these really great companies. And then just experiential learning. So this could look like a co-op. This could look like an experiential network project. So like a 4 to 6 week project that industry will give you sort of work as like a capstone. Or even just like professional development. So like going on to that company and seeing what it's like to be them for a day. So it really ranges: aerospace, life sciences, clean tech, technology and SaaS, nonprofits. We got trade orgs, we got talent management. Out of all of these, I think the one that is proving to be really great for Seattle is Lululemon. So they're hiring data analytics students and project management students. And I have heard from some Lululemon colleagues that they love our students because our students, they are the best. There are a lot of other universities. I won't list them, but there are a lot of great universities just in Seattle, and Lululemon always gets back to us and say that they love our Northeastern students the most. Costco is another one that's really great too, but just looking at all these different partnerships, you know that you are definitely well taken care of in the professional department here at Northeastern. Okay, Harsh, next slide, please. And so I just put together this slide, but it actually is, there's a lot more tech companies just in SLU and sort of extended Seattle alone. So this photo I really like because you can sort of see like the highlighted darker areas. Those are buildings specifically in SLU, so South Lake Union. You can see where we are and adjacent to the South Lake Union waterfront and adjacent to the Space Needle. I highlighted 2 Amazon buildings, but there's actually 11 Amazon buildings just scattered around Northeastern. So if Amazon's something that you are hoping to work for in the future, like you can sort of see in this top 10 list, Amazon is the first three hiring partners of our Northeastern students. So Northeastern loves our Northeastern students, and they're hiring them full time after they graduate. Seattle Children's Research Institute is just a couple blocks behind us. So if you're looking to get into healthcare, Google's located on the waterfront. We have Salesforce, Meta again, Snapchat Incorporated, Redfin, and Zillow for any of you data analytics or data science students. Snowflake is located also in SLU. So is Expedia located in SLU. But we have just a treasure trove of different tech or tech adjacent companies in Seattle alone. Okay, Harsh, next slide, please. Okay, so we're just gonna go into, hey, what's studying going to look like? What buildings are in SLU that are part of Northeastern Seattle? And so we actually have three. Our main building is our 225 building. You can sort of see this building in the background. All four of those floors, this entire building, we own that. There's over 14 classrooms in the building. Each classroom can accommodate 30 students maximum, so you'll never be in a class with more than 30 students. Your academic advising is housed in this office or in this building. You have study and event spaces, you have little study rooms, printing, we have a pool table in there. We have a really beautiful courtyard, so in the summertime we'll host our summer events in that courtyard. But this building, we used to only own the second floor back in 10 years ago, but we've come a long way, and now we own the entire building specifically for our students, and we even signed on 2 more. But yes, we opened up in 2010. We have currently 1,400 plus students. We're identified as a geeky city in the US. It's a lot of classrooms, collaborative spaces, faculty offices, student study areas, and a lot of floor-to-ceiling windows in the building. And then Harsh, next slide, please. Some water really quick. Okay, this is our newest building. We actually just signed on the lease for this building last year. It's currently being renovated and is set to open up for March of 2025. So in just less than 12 months, this will be our new student hub. We're going to have a grab and go market. We're going to have a little collegiate store so you can buy Northeastern apparel. It's mostly going to be a lot of study spaces, collaborative spaces, and then all of our academic advising is going to move in here. So any questions about College of Engineering, you'll find your academic advisor here in this building. But it's going to be a first floor event study space. It's sort of like, there are a few brick buildings in SLU, and this is one of them. So it's, in my opinion, I think it makes the city so much cuter in that aspect. Yay, like one of the few brick buildings. It's not just high-rise skyscrapers, but it's a healthy mix of a lot of different types of architecture. And again, I think one of 2 brick buildings just on Terry Avenue alone. Okay, next slide, please, Harsh. This is our last building. So we have the Seattle campus. This is our 401 building. So when we are talking about Northeastern Seattle and you're like trying to meet up with a student or like your colleague, you'll either be at 225 or 401. We really call it 225 or just 401. But this is where administrative offices, classrooms, and collaborative spaces are located. Our dean of faculty are there. Our dean of, just like the dean is there. So Dave Thurman is housed there. Dean for career development is housed there. Dean of partnerships is housed there. So the director who goes and finds all of our new partnerships for Seattle students, all of our leadership is housed in 401. In the event that we need a classroom for more than 150 students, this building is actually shared with the Institute Systems for Biology, and they do a lot of med tech programs and some research on the side. In the future, we might be getting a program that involves research. This is definitely a dream of ours, but if we do need research study spaces, it will be in 401. Otherwise, there's like 4 classrooms here that can accommodate up to 30 students. And then you have still printing. Coffee and tea is free for all of our students. So coffee and tea is located at 225 or 401. And just like intimate study spaces as well located in this building. Okay, next slide, please, Harsh. And so this picture here is just different pictures of what our campus does look like. So that photo to the very left, that's the interior of our courtyard. We were having a summer event last summer. We were having a little barbecue event, but you can see students just hanging out there. You can't really see, but there's table and chairs behind, so you can still sit outside as well. And then that photo at the top middle, so that's a picture of our event space. When we're not having events, we turn that into like just a bunch of different tables with chairs so students can study. But we transformed it to an event because that's a picture of one of our lunch and learns where we'll bring an industry leader and sort of talk about what it's like being part of the industry. And those are all of our students who are listening in on the lunch and learn. That is the photo at the bottom is our largest classroom. So the 150-person classroom. You most likely won't be in that space, but just for showing how big our two buildings are, it's a great reference point. The top picture to the very right, that's the outdoor of our 225 building with our interior. You can sort of see the entrance to our interior courtyard, but we actually just got that really lovely sign that says Northeastern University in the giant N last summer as well. So we're doing a lot of really big things in Seattle. And then the bottom right photo, that's just another communal space for our staff and faculty, but as soon as you turn around, you can see the Space Needle, and it's just really quite lovely. Okay, Harsh, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so these are our course offerings specifically in Seattle. Again, I said we have over 1,400 students, almost 1,500 students, and we just continue to grow every single year. But again, in those 1,400 students, those students are among 4 different colleges, among 12 different programs. So in our College of Professional Studies, we have 2 master's and 2 doctoral programs, Master in Professional Studies and Analytics, Master of Science in Project Management, and then maybe down the line, if you are interested in going for a doctoral program, you could do law and policy or education. In our Corey College of Computer Science, we have our MSCS, so Master of Science in Computer Science, and then we have that aligned pathway for students who are not coming from a computer science tech background and want to go into an MS and CS. In our College of Engineering, they actually are our biggest cohort, so they make up a majority chunk of our students. Just in this cohort alone, I think there's over 600, almost 700 students that just specifically belong to the College of Engineering and are a Seattle student. And so in the College of Engineering, we have those 5 programs. Master of Science in Information Systems, we even have it in a bridge pathway. If you don't come from a tech or tech adjacent background, we just launched this new program, Master of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering. It has 2 concentrations, but this is our second cohort that we will launch this fall 2024. This originally launched last fall 2023, but if you are interested in being an electrical engineer, computer engineer, or if you even want to learn new trendy concepts in AI, machine learning, we have 2 concentrations in our ECE program. And because we're launching its second cohort, we're offering a 25% tuition scholarship for students who apply and are accepted, but that's only for this fall 2024. So if you're ready to go to grad school this fall 2024, which is September of 2024, you will be guaranteed to get that 25% off. And then we have our last 2 in the College of Engineering, so data analytics engineering for students who want to be data scientists, and then we have our data architecture and management for students who want to be data engineers. And then last but not least, our last college is our College of Social Sciences and Humanities. We have an economics program with a data science concentration, and we're continuing to build this program, which is why we're offering a 50% tuition scholarship guaranteed for students who get into that program. Okay. I think that might be, no, I think I have 2 more slides. Perfect. Okay, so if you really enjoyed what I had to say today about Seattle at 6:42 in the morning or wherever you may be joining, follow us on social media and join us for our next event. You can scan that QR code with your phone and it's going to lead you to our events page. Most likely it's probably going to show all the events on the right side. So we like to do a lot of not just events about like, hey, just learn about Seattle, but like, do you want to know what it's like being a graduate student? Join our faculty workshop. Our next one is coming up in 16 days from 6 to 7:30 p.m. virtually, and it's on designing IoT systems with an actual faculty member from Seattle. Our next one's going to be power laws and economics. And then our next in-person event, if you happen to be in the Pacific Northwest around May 18th, 2024, which is a Saturday, we are having our spring open house. Yay! So come meet us in person, come talk to academic advisors in your college, see the student support services that are supporting you in graduate school, and come meet our dean. And it's going to be really great. We're going to be providing breakfast, so it's going to be really awesome. Otherwise, on that left side, again, my name is Katrine Vizcaya. That's my email. Feel free to email me if you have any questions, if you want to make an appointment with me, and then follow us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are super active on all three of those. So LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, especially LinkedIn and YouTube. So follow us on social medias for more information about how to get connected with our campus. And I think that's my last slide, Harsh. What's the next slide? Perfect.
It
Okay.
is. So thank you so much. I wish I saw this presentation before I came to Seattle, but we'll definitely talk about that at a different point in time. But to
Okay.
everyone that's joined us, I had the pleasure of being on the Seattle campus like 2 weeks ago, and definitely what is said is literally true. However, when I was there, it was cloudy, but the weather was ideally perfect. And like Katrine mentioned in the pictures, our campus is located in such a beautiful neighborhood that it is just magnificent. So just like how she has mentioned, and here we are, right? So in case for students that are still interested in applying, it's still time. You can still submit your application for the fall of 2024, excuse me. And for the ones that already submit an application and just want to know your next steps, this is your chart and this would help you. So for the admitted students, this would be a really cool map to lay out your stuff. So you need to log into your application portal, which is Slate. So for incoming students, prospect students, or students looking to apply to Northeastern, you will submit your application through Slate. There is a little fee waiver code that I'll give you guys a little bit on later on in the slides, but this is just a map out for the admitted students. You want to pay your enrollment fee, which is $100, and that would help you navigate throughout the process, which is activating your Northeastern email account, submitting your health report. For any international students, you do have to submit an I-20, so that's a different step that you will see in your admitted student portal. So just be mindful, students, just go to your application portal to get any updates or anything that's missing. That is the way we will communicate with you. And then so, like I've stated earlier, for students that are still looking to apply for the fall of 2024, and if you're interested in the program that Katrine mentioned, that is giving you a 25% scholarship, you have until June 1st to submit your application to the Seattle campus or just in general overall campus, but definitely advise you to submit it sooner than later so you get your decision. And if we have international students on this call, you definitely know the process of I-20 and interview does take a while. And then, of course, our spring 2025 applications open up for September 15th. So without that, these are some tricks and trades that we do to help advise students that the College of Engineering has an on-rolling admissions for MS students, specifically for the MS program only. You can apply to more than one program at a time. So you could definitely list out the programs that you're interested in. So each application allows you to add 2 additional programs on top of your primary program. So that's just something that we have here listed for you guys. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, there is a fee waiver code. So because you joined our session today, please use the fee waiver code. That will waive $100 off your application. This is only for new applicants. Unfortunately, if you already submitted your application, you cannot use the fee waiver code. And unfortunately, we can't go in and waive it. It's just the way the system is built out. But this is the fee waiver code you would use. It is case sensitive, so just be mindful. And that's the fee waiver code. These are our application requirements. You need 2 letters of recommendation, unofficial transcripts, statement of purpose, a resume. GREs are waived at this point in time, so you do not need to submit your GREs. And then if you are a student that does require English proficiency exams, we do accept IELTS, TOEFL, and Duolingo. So just like I stated earlier, this is our fee waiver code. It is case sensitive, so just be mindful that when you type it in, this is the correct way you type it in. And then, of course, last but not least, stay in touch with us. We are here, both COE admissions office as well as the Seattle office is here for you. So definitely stay connected with us through all of our social media platforms. We have a lot more virtual events coming up that you can sign up for. If you already are receiving those emails, definitely sign up specifically if you're looking for your program. We are hosting Wonder Week for the week of April 22nd. That's a good way to know more about your program as well as connect with our faculty and current student ambassadors. So I'm just going to leave this up briefly. And without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so then we could definitely answer the Q&A questions that are in the chat. As well as I am going to stop recording as well.